Sanbonan Dumlang, hello, it's Simply Spissa here and welcome back to my channel if you're a returning subscriber, but also a special welcome to you if you're joining me for the first time. I don't know what that thing was with my tongue, like what was the reason, but yeah, if you're a returning subscriber, you're probably like aware of the fact that it's been like a hot minute since I put out a video. I mean, okay, before I get into like today's matter of discussion, I just wanna let's have a quick little catch up, get some housekeeping out of the way. So if you are a new subscriber, please do hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. Also check out my podcast, Simply Do the Work. I'll link it down below. It's available on a variety of podcast streaming services, and I have a ton of podcast ideas which will not be posted on my YouTube channel. So if you want to get into social commentary and just the general mess of the world we live in, I discuss all of that on my podcast. But basically, one of the reasons why I haven't been active is, I mean, if you remember, I think it's almost been a month ago. Like, how long has it been? Girl, we're in Corona time, so it feels like 6 months ago, but realistically, I think it was maybe a month ago. I put out a video talking about the issues at my university, and I'll leave it at that. Basically, my university has given false promises again. It's continuing to disappoint, and that is why I took a break from YouTube. But now we got that out of the way, today, as you can tell by the title of the video, we're going to be discussing Blackpink and what I love about these girls. Now, I am new not only to K-pop but also like to Blackpink. Like, I only started standing Blackpink, like it's been like almost like, has it even been 2 months of me standing Blackpink? Basically, if you guys remember, about 3 weeks ago I put out a video unpacking the messiness of K-pop, and in that, at the end of the video, I said I'm going to be discussing Blackpink a little bit further. So that's what we're gonna do. Like, I don't know why, like, you can tell I haven't done this in a while because my intro is so long. It is, nothing is flowing. Hopefully hopefully the video picks up. Hopefully it can find itself. But basically, okay, how did I get into Blackpink? So like, I feel like most people, right, I think if you're into pop culture and music, you are aware of Blackpink. Like, even if you haven't listened to their songs, you are aware of the fact that there is a Korean pop girl group called Blackpink that exists. You know, that was me for a long time. I knew that they were out there, this group called Blackpink, but only this year in April did I decide, okay, you know what, let me sit down and start listening to their music. And it was, you know, I had obviously initial phase. I was like, okay, you know, like, I listened to them casually. I was just like a casual listener until How You Like That came. Because How You Like That was actually the first Blackpink music video that I ever watched, and I was blown away. I was like, hold up, let me actually take the time to watch all of their music videos, because before then I hadn't watched the music videos, right? So watching all of their music videos and all of their performances, and I was just like, we have to stand. We have to stand. And that is just pretty much how I got into Blackpink. And some of the things that actually I love about Blackpink is, like I mentioned, their music videos, right? Their music videos, you can tell, especially like their later music videos, you can tell that there is a budget, right? YG said, I am giving them coins to make this music video. Even just watching people on YouTube explain the possible symbolism and meaning of the music video, you can tell that the concepts of the music videos, a lot of thought does go into it. You know, sometimes it seems like you can easily just get caught up in like, oh, the pretty visuals, but what do the visuals actually mean? Like, obviously, I mean, sometimes I do feel like people do read a lot. Like, sometimes I'm like, okay, you're reaching, like, it's not that deep. But like with How You Like That, you know, just basically this whole theme of coming, almost like giving the idea of just like rising from the ashes. And it's like, you know, how you like that, huh? You thought I was gone, you thought you, like, I feel like it's like, it was like the perfect comeback considering they were gone for how long? Like, girl. Also, just their fashion and style. Like, I know for a lot of people, the fact that the Blackpink members are clearly not just singers, they're also influencers, right? They find that as a problem. For a lot of people, they criticize Blackpink for having all these brand deals, for focusing more on the brand deals than the music. And it's for me, right, because I'm someone who also stands Selena Gomez and Rihanna, someone who's not always doing music but is just getting brand deals, or is just focused on fashion, style, beauty. I'm used to that. That is my, like, clearly, I mean, one day literally I sat down and thought, like, wait a minute, Blackpink, Rihanna and Selena Gomez, like, their careers mirror each other so much. Clearly that's one of the reasons why I love them, like their fashion sense, even just looking through their Instagram feeds, it's an aesthetic, it's a vibe. I mean, obviously you cannot deny the fact that there are a lot of, like, obviously the brands that they work with is because of, like, the image of the individual members. And even not only that, but I actually watched a video explaining the fashion in How You Like That. That literally the brands that the girls have, like, deals with, they were wearing clothes from those brands in the video. And it's just like, I'm not gonna be mad at someone getting their bag. Like, I get it, for probably people who are really into K-pop, that can be off-putting, right? But I think for me, someone who I also do feel like, because I've been studying Blackpink since, like, the beginning, or for the longest time, I have a more fresh perspective. I mean, there are certainly things that I do not like, but I want to start on, like, the positives first. A little messy, but because they're really enjoying themselves, and I just immediately, like, two standout performances for me is their Boombayah debut stage. Like, I remember telling my sister when I watched it, like, this is just a chaotic mess, but I love it. It is a beautiful mess. Like, when you actually watch it, like, there's so much happening. It's actually all over the place, but you can just see how excited they are to debut. You can see the passion that they have, and that, for me, like, you guys, you can see, like, I have the biggest smile on my face right now, because I can literally see it playing out. Like, it brings me so much joy. And Coachella, the way they ate Coachella up, and I think as Blinks, we've all collectively agreed that Coachella is their US debut, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. And then also, when I was getting into Blackpink, right, I started watching a lot of fan-made documentaries, right? Because I was like, I needed to get, like, a crash course on Blackpink, and just that was the first time I actually got to understand the K-pop trainee system through these fan-made videos, through hearing them talk about how difficult it was, how people would be going home. Some people would go home after 2 weeks, some people go home after 2 years, and just hearing the sacrifices that they made. Like, I can't imagine being, like, how old was Lisa? Was she 14? Correct me if I'm wrong. Like, but leaving a foreign country, I mean, leaving your home country, going to another country where you do not speak the language, and I can really empathize, because here in South Africa, right, we've got 11 official languages, and certain areas have, like, a more predominant, like, for example, basically for me, right, I used to live in a predominantly Xhosa speaking area, and because I'm Zulu and Xhosa are very similar languages, but then I moved to an area where Sotho is the predominant language, and I just remember how, like, my first 2 years, like, where I live now, like, I couldn't really communicate with people except through English. And then Lisa being told that no one's allowed to speak to you in English, everyone needs to speak to you in Korean so you can learn the language. It made me actually admire them even more. It's like imagine, like, it just showed that they really had this dream, and each member story, like, I know I'm focusing on Lisa, but, like, each member had this dream, and they were willing to do whatever it takes to make their dreams come true. And also, of course, what got me into them in the first place is the music. Like, you can't deny that they have bops, okay? Even though they currently, as I'm filming this, they don't have, the widest catalog. They don't have that many songs, but the songs that they do have are bops. Like, not a single skip in Blackpink's discography, methinks. Like, even like their live album, like there's some songs which it's kind of like the studio version is cute, but then you hear the live version and then you just like, it just gives it a whole other oomph level. And then what do I dislike about Blackpink? Like, things I dislike. There seems to be some type of favoritism from the side of the fans, because like I'm noticing there are a lot of solo stands. Like, there are people who, like, by solo stands, like they only stand a particular member in Blackpink and they do not care for the rest of the girls and they do not care for the group itself. I think that's evident in the fact that I think Lisa literally has more Instagram followers than the Blackpink official like Instagram page. So clearly there are people who want to see Lisa on their feed, people who are in love with Lisa, but they do not care about Blackpink. They just like, nope, keep that away from me. Which, you know what, to each their own. You know, you're allowed to have your faves. Like, my bias is Jisoo. Like, initially it was Lisa, because Lisa really caught my eye, but then it's like the more I like got into Blackpink, Jisoo's vocals just they just do something to me. I need y'all to figure out a way how I can like get her vocals into my veins, because they are addictive. Like, but like the favoritism in terms of like amongst fans, right? You get fans who bash, like, it's kind of like Lisa stans will bash Jennie just to uplift Lisa, or they'll bash Rosé, and it's messy within the fandom. And then it's also the favoritism from like YG. Like, it's not really helping in terms of the issue of solo stans, because just when I was just like getting acquainted with Blackpink and look at the, like, Jennie is the first Blackpink member that I knew of. Like, I remember for the longest time I knew that there was someone named Jennie from Blackpink, because I'd always see her on the TL. I'd always just see people talking about her, even though I didn't know, like, necessarily keep up, but that name stuck. It was Jennie, then Lisa. Those are the two names that really first stuck with me. And even if you look at the difference in Instagram followers, and I've watched a ton of videos explaining, you know, possible reasons why, but the favoritism from the company side, I just see in terms of the line distribution. Now, I do get that compared to other K-pop groups, Blackpink's line distribution isn't the worst, right? It is sort of equal in a sense, but I won't lie, right? I had a mini phase where I disliked Jennie. And I think it's kind of like Mira, I believe the channel is called, explained it really clearly in her video titled Jennie the Villain of K-pop. I think, yeah, she explained how Jennie got this, because if you actually think about it, it's a narrative. There's this narrative that is put onto Jennie of her like villainizing her. Is that even a word? Well, it's a word now, villainizing her. And so I support all the girls, even though my bias is Jisoo. Like, I think there's nothing wrong with having a bias, having someone that you like more than the other, but no need to be bashing others or dragging others down just to uplift your favorite. I think that just accounts in general on when it comes to standing, but we know that's not how Stan Twitter works. Another thing, right? Their inconsistency. Now, I mentioned that one of the things that I love about Blackpink is that when they perform, they're able to really bring it. But while I was going through the, you know, bunch of performances that they have, I saw some really bad performances. Like, Good Morning America. Like, that's what I was saying. Like, I think we agreed Coachella will be their US debut, because Good Morning America was a mess. Like, there's so many things I can, like, first of all, the styling was just all over the place. They do not look like a group. They look like like, each person has their own outfit on. And I get not wanting everyone to wear the exact same thing, but at least they'd have a theme, you know, even let it be a color scheme, if not a color scheme, but like a theme, because you have one person who's dressed in like a type of formal wear, someone's wearing like streetwear. It was just messy, and never mind the fact that the choreo was just not even like already. Its choreo is quite simple, right? And so if you're not gonna bring it with your energy, the performance completely falls flat. I remember just being so underwhelmed watching it, like, what is this? Even like their energies were just, they just weren't in sync. It was just a mess. And I wish that was the only performance like that, but there's so many other performances I saw where sometimes it's not even an issue of like everyone in the group is messing up, but I think because they're, you know, 4 members, if one person is out of sync or if one person's not feeling it, it drags everyone else down, because now you're looking at the whole stage and you just gain, and the vision, the image, right? And if they're not in sync, it looks messy, it makes them look unprepared, unprofessional. And then you look at like the performance videos, or you look at the concerts. At the concerts, they deliver. And so that's why I'm like, it's an issue of inconsistency. And it's really sad, because then what happens is locals and other fandoms then start dragging Blackpink, saying that they're terrible performers, saying that they're industry plants. And these are critiques which, like I mentioned, I stan Riri and Selena. Those faves of mine have also had to endure because of inconsistencies with performances, you know, because they've had their bad days. And I think the way it is, right, I think one of the things that contributes to Blackpink specifically, because that's who we're focusing on, but I think it applies to any artist, why someone can be branded as being bad performers, is because the general public, right, probably will not be watching their concert videos, will not be buying their concert DVDs, will not go to their concerts. The only time they'll see them perform is on televised performances, right, is on talk shows and award shows. That's when some people will be seeing you for the first time, or the only time they'll ever see you. And if their only experiences of your performances are bad, they will label you as being a bad performer. And no, they're not gonna care to be like, wait, let me see, maybe they do better at their concerts. Because I also do think it could be a thing of nerves. Like, when the nerves get you, girl, like, when they get you, sometimes they get you so bad you can't even snap out of it. And I think this also ties into the issue of the gaps in their discography. The fact that they're not always actively pursuing music. For people who debuted 4 years ago, they do not have a catalog. For people who debuted in 2016, you know, it's kind of like, I think they have like, what, 13, 16 songs. Like, I don't know whether you include or exclude their features. And I think because of that, right, because they'll have a comeback, promote, perform, and then get locked up in the dungeon and then do other things. When they have the next comeback, it's kind of like they're out of practice. Like, I think they don't get as much experience in terms of just like the professional part of, you know, being a performer, because sometimes it really looks like they're being forced. Like, some of their earlier performances, it looked like, my heart is like, it looks like they don't want to be there. It looks like they just going through the motions. Just, it's kind of like, oh, I can't wait till this is over. And that's really upsetting, I guess. Another issue that I have is just the lack of creative control. I remember watching their interview with Zach Sang and kind of cringing at how, like, almost every other question they'd answer, oh, our producer did this, our producer did that, and now look, don't get me wrong, right? I'm not saying that, I'm not criticizing them for not being active in the creative process, but from what I know, they don't even have that option, right? I feel like it's different if an artist chooses that I want someone to write the song for me, I want someone to produce this, someone like, and then like I'll just show up and perform. That's different. It's a completely different story if the artist doesn't have that option. If am I making sense? Am I like, I think, yeah, like it's not like it's not like they choosing not to give input. From what I understand, they can't give input, or if they do give input, it's very minimal. It's very, like, you know, they can't be making major changes. And that also brings on with how some of their songs, even though, as I was saying earlier, they're all bops, but if you actually sit down and analyze their music, we've been given the same song multiple times, and I'm gonna insert a clip by Mira which basically breaks down the formula of a Blackpink song.
The chorus is made up of the same three components. Number one, a key phrase, usually in English. Number two is repetitions of onomatopoeia or a secondary phrase. And number three is a cycling pattern of electronic notes.
And so that being said, right, if their songs are so formulaic, right, why does it take so long for them to you know, release music? Because it's easy to use the whole oh no, we working on quality and not quantity, but then if you actually analyze the quality, it's like, well, this isn't necessary. Like, it's, the music's good, but it's not groundbreaking, right? Like, I think of Drake, for example, right? Drake releases every other day, and I feel like everyone else is probably like, we're getting tired and annoyed, like, oh my gosh, like, are you just gonna keep, like, you're saturating the industry with your catalog? But Drake stands are winning. They are being fed, right? I feel like that it would be different if Blackpink were like active, like if they were just giving the same song over and over again, but they're always releasing music. But now I feel like what happens is, because Blackpink so rarely releases music, when they do, we as fans are expected to eat up whatever's given to us. We just like, we be eating crumbs. And this is why, like, I don't want to necessarily criticize them. Like, I feel like where the members need to be criticized is in terms of performing, right? Because if you go on stage and you don't do the choreo right, or you miss the note, that is on you. There's no one else we can blame, right? But the music, if you didn't write the songs, then why would I criticize you? Why would I, like, if a movie has a bad storyline, I'm not gonna go and attack the actors. No, I'll criticize or question the writer's choices. You know, that's, I think, I just want to make that clear, and just say that this does not take away from the fact that I love, like, I've fallen in love with these girls, like, literally, like, they're up there with Selena Gomez and Riri in terms of, like, my love and respect for them and what they do, you know, because I don't want to take that away from them, you know. I do feel like despite all these things, Blackpink has managed to become one of the biggest girl groups in the world, period, not even just outside of K-pop, because Blackpink, I feel like they've almost had this crossover into the Western market in the sense of there are people who listen to Blackpink, and that's like there are people who don't care for K-pop, but listen to and enjoy Blackpink's music. And I couldn't be happier, right? I couldn't be happier. Like, when I'm filming this, next week we're getting the Pink single. The album is coming out in October. I hope as many people as possible will be streaming. I hope as many people as possible will be buying and supporting, because they deserve, they deserve. Like, it's also one of the reasons why I was kind of shook that they debuted in 2016 and it took literally 4 years for their album to come out. Oh, excuse me. For like I do understand, right? There are many artists who, when they start out, they start out releasing EPs and just like little droplet singles before the actual album. But it doesn't make sense why it took this long for Blackpink's album to come out, because they already had an established fan base. Like, I know even if you sign to a major record label, right, most of the time they'd rather invest in smaller projects because it's less money if they're not sure that they're gonna get their money back. But then YGE, girl, they're messy. Like, I could go on an entire tangent on the messiness of YGE, and that can be a discussion for another day. But I think also, right, and this is actually one of the reasons why I felt motivated to also make this video, is because while I was getting into Blackpink, right, obviously YouTube notices that I'm watching a lot of Blackpink content, and so I started getting recommendations for videos of why I understand Blackpink, the K-pop industry at its worst. And I do understand people's intentions with those videos. I'd like to believe that most of the people making these videos mean well, right? But my issue with those videos is that sometimes when you watch the videos, right, it's sometimes things that you already knew, or like I mentioned, like the fact that that they seem to be influencers, right, as well as singers, right? Some people will put in those videos that Blackpink is more interested in being influencers than in making music. And my thing is, it's kind of like, sometimes you just want to ask these people, were you a stan to even begin with? You're telling me now that you're unstanding, but were you even a stan to begin with? Because I also do think the term stan is used very loosely. I think we also forget the origin of the word stan. Like I believe Eminem coined the term stan. It wasn't necessarily a positive thing, right? You can consider stan as like a combination, like the English ran away, a combination of stalker and fan, stan, an overzealous fan, right? And obviously now that word has been reclaimed and now it's used positively. But there are many artists that I call myself, like I'll say I'm a fan of their music, I'm a casual fan. Like, the artists who literally I follow every release of it. Like, every time they release music, I'll be one of the first people to stream. They drop a music video, I'll be watching. But I don't call myself a stan, because standing is something I reserve for a select few. That's why it was like, I started listening to Blackpink in April. I was enjoying their music, but I only became a stan like 2 months after I started listening to them, because that's when I really got into it. Because like before I claim you as a fave that I stan, I look at everything. Okay, what do you stand for? What mess have you been caught up in? Because even like, if you remember in my video unpacking the messiness of K-pop, right, one of the things I touched on was cultural appropriation. And I remember when I was just watching it at first, just watching these other YouTubers speak about that issue, I was like, but my girls in Blackpink would never. And then I watched Kill This Love. It's kind of like, when I stand, it's sometimes like not to say that I am standing in spite of the issues, like, you know, some real valid concerns were raised, but some people will say it's just, I just wonder what is your intention, because also when you make a video saying why I understand Blackpink or the problem with Blackpink, even if what you say in the video isn't necessarily malicious, that video creates a platform, it creates a space for people to come and hate on Blackpink, right? Like, so the things that I mentioned I dislike about Blackpink have caused people to so-called unstan. And that's okay. That is your right. I mean, you get to choose who you support and why you support them. But sometimes I just wonder, why are you telling us? You know, it's kind of I just want to be like, who asked? We didn't ask. Like, trust me, there are so many people who I've quietly unstand, or people who I used to stan, but there's sort of like that zeal and passion I used to have for them isn't as strong. Like, if I think of Rihanna, because Riri hasn't released music in forever, except for the crumbs we got this year with that Party Next Door song, like the zeal and passion that I had for her in 2012, 2016, like, it's not there. But you don't see me going off on the internet saying why I understand Riri and going, it's because she hasn't released music, it's because she's only focusing on Fenty Beauty and making clothes that we can't afford. Like, I might think that way, I might be feeling that way, but I also recognize that at the end of the day, it's kind of like, I feel like it's almost like some people almost have like a narcissistic approach to their faves, as if everything that your fave does has to cater to you and your morals or your standards. And sometimes like it's okay if you're not as obsessed with Blackpink now as you were when you first started listening to them. But I went on a bit of a tangent. Bringing it back, I'm really looking forward to the Sal Pink song, because, like, I mean, I love Selena Gomez and I love Blackpink. And I remember actually, as a joke, right, I used to comment, like, whenever someone would be like on Twitter, what's your dream collab? I'd be like, Selena Gomez and Blackpink. I even made a Selena and Blackpink fan cam, and I even made like a Selena Blackpink playlist. Like, this was even before there were even rumors of the Sal Pink collab. And then when the rumors came, I was like, wait. So I think I low-key manifested the collab. Like, I won't lie, part of me is a little bit scared, because like the music video, what's going to be the concept? Also, I mean, we are aware that because of the pandemic, they didn't like physically work with each other. So chances are, even if Selena and Blackpink are in the music video, they're not going to be in the same shot, unless, you know, YG, I hope your editors can really, you know, really get into their creative skills. I hope YG, you don't hold back on the budget. Like, we need a bop, we need records to be broken. And when the album comes, we'll be streaming. You know, I'll be here on my channel making a reaction to that, because that's what I do. I'm also looking forward to Jisoo acting, because that has been confirmed. And it's just, you know what, I want to end this on a positive note. And so, that being said, thank you so much if you made it till this point. Let me know what are your thoughts on Blackpink, and I don't know, just anything, whatever's on your mind after watching this, down below in the comment section. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, I love you so much. Bye guys.